Welcome to Commander Top 5. I'm your host Alex, and today we'll be checking out my list of the top 5 mono black commanders. The commanders I've chosen are whom I consider to be the best of the best in mono black. I've highlighted the most competitive aspects of each commander and what I consider to be the best ways to build around them. This list has a little something for everyone, and I hope you enjoy it. Alright, enough with the small talk. Let's dive in. Number 5. Gonti, Lord of Luxury. You like disrupting your opponent's plans by using their own cards against them? Gonti is your man. The Lord of Luxury loves to take other people's nice spells, then beat them over the head with them. He even has Death Touch, which is always a good time. Even if he dies, the spells he stole can still be played. Gonti is the gift that keeps on giving. Gonti fits snugly into a Reanimator strategy. Cards like Animate Dead and Necromancy are easy ways to abuse the Lord of Luxury's ability. When he dies, let him go to the graveyard, then resurrect him from the dead, Lazarus style. Necromancy has the benefit of being used at instant speed, and Animate Dead can steal creatures from your opponent's graveyards. Because Gonti needs more ways to steal other people's things, right? I'm also a fan of Victimize, which lets you resurrect 2 creatures for the price of 1. And Dread Return, which has Flashback, giving you the chance to use it multiple times. Both are a bit more budget friendly and easier to get a hold of than cards like Necromancy. Personally, I think Gonti is best paired with a ton of copy effects. I recommend Strionic Resonator, which lets you copy his ability when it triggers, and Blade of Selves, which makes duplicates of Gonti himself. Tread carefully with the blade though. It will set off a legendary rule and you'll have to sacrifice the Gonti copies. I also dig Mirage Mirror and Panharmonicon. Of the two, Panharmonicon is a better pair with Gonti specifically, but Mirage Mirror has the added bonus of being able to become a copy of any permanent you or an opponent controls. When an opponent plays something you don't like, get one of your own. Number 4. Skithiryx, the Blight Dragon. In terms of sheer creature power, Skithiryx, better known as Skittles, is the most powerful mono-black commander. However, Skittles is probably the most controversial commander currently in the format. Personally, I have no problem playing against a Skittles deck, but there are a lot of commander players who outright refuse to. I can understand the hatred for Skittles. It's surprisingly easy to put him on the battlefield and one-hit KO somebody with 10 infect counters directly to the face. Love him or hate him, Skittles is here to stay and will be making people taste the rainbow for years to come. There are 2 ways to build a Skittles deck, the first being mass infect counters. Cards like Eco-Rats and Hand of the Praetors facilitate putting infect counters on all your opponents at once rather than one at a time. This type of strategy is going to run a lot of infect creatures and use Skittles as a backup to get through that last little bit of infect damage. Throw in cards like Contagion Clasp and Contagion Engine for good measure. Having the ability to proliferate all your opponent's infect counters is a great way to lose friends. If you're determined to make someone flip a table, Voltron Skittles is the way to go. Give Skittles fancy boots, like Lightning Greaves, and watch steam come out of your opponent's ears. Nightmare Lash practically guarantees a one-hit KO against anyone who even attempts to stage a resistance against King Skittles. If you're truly determined to make people taste the rainbow, I'd highly suggest Sword of Feast and Famine and Sword of Fire and Ice. Both make Skittles very difficult to remove and give you major bonuses for wrecking your enemies. Why just win when you can dominate? Number 3. Erebos, God of the Dead. Erebos is the textbook definition of a well-rounded commander. He prevents your opponents from gaining life and can draw you cards for a small fee. Pack all of that on a 5 power, 7 toughness indestructible frame, and you have yourself one of the best mono-black creatures in the game. The gods of flavor demand that any Erebos deck run his signature cards, Whip of Erebos and Dictate of Erebos. It isn't just about flavor. Both of these cards are very powerful, especially when used in an enchantment-heavy deck. Dictate of Erebos in particular is a card to fear. It alone can lock down games and drive aggressive players into hiding. Sticking with the enchantment theme, natural includes our Bloodchief Ascension and Mind Crank. Bloodchief Ascension can spiral out of hand for your opponents in an instant. Every time a card enters their graveyard from anywhere, they lose 2 life and you gain 2 life. Add in Mind Crank and watch people lose their minds as they mill their entire library and slowly die, 2 damage at a time. Having difficulty with decks that like to draw a lot of cards? Underworld Dreams is here to shut that down. The only person who should draw cards is you. Wound Reflection is a great way to speed up any game. Your opponents practically kill themselves once this is on the battlefield. Erebos doesn't have time for filthy casuals and their silly games. The best way to honor Erebos is by giving him brutal combos he can use to annihilate his enemies. Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond are just what the God of the Dead ordered. Put these 2 enchantments together, gain 1 single life point, and win the game. Just Black doing what Black does best, destroying people's hopes and dreams. Number 2, Xiahou, the One-Eyed. Xiahou is a commander not many people are aware of. On the surface, he looks average. A 3/2 with horsemanship for 4 mana isn't particularly great. What sets the One-Eyed apart is his second ability. Being able to put him in your graveyard, then return any black card from your graveyard to your hand makes for some serious shenanigans. Go figure, Black has a lot of great cards that are even better if they can be used multiple times. Black is famous for its powerful tutor effects. The One-Eyed makes these effects even more powerful because he can exploit them multiple times. The downside of these tutor effects is that many of them are very expensive to purchase. However, if you're going to splurge for expensive tutors, the best place to use them is in a deck like this. Seeing as the One-Eyed will be hitting our graveyard a lot, we'll want ways to pull him out so we can spam his ability. Reanimate and the many cards like it are obvious auto includes. I also really like Sheoldred here. With her on the battlefield, you get a free resurrection each turn. Who better to use it on than the One-Eyed? 2 more cards to add to the crazy expensive but very powerful list are Yawgmoth's Will and Rings of Brighthearth. Yawgmoth's Will is an insanely powerful card that is useful in most decks. Very hard to argue against it here. Rings of Brighthearth opens up the possibility of activating the One-Eye's ability twice, which is just plain gross. Even saying that makes me wince a little. Even simple cards like Dark Ritual become powerhouses in the hands of the One-Eyed. Most people are thrilled to cast Dark Ritual once. Imagine casting it 2, 3, or even 4 times. Beseech the Queen is one of the few black tutor cards. It fits nicely here, and I'd recommend snagging a copy if you don't already have one. If the goal is to repeatedly cast spells, we might as well make those spells count. Torment of Hailfire and Exsanguinate are perfect spells to spam over and over again. Forcing your opponents to sacrifice permanents, discard cards, lose life, or all 3 is the ultimate way to assert your dominance and lock down the game for good. Number 1, Razaketh, the Foul-Blooded. Just look at this monster. An 8/8 flying trampler with a tutor as an ability? Lord have mercy. Ideally, a Razaketh deck should focus heavily on comboing off the moment the Demon Lord hits the battlefield. There are a variety of ways this can be done. I'm going to highlight one of those for you here. Let's start with the basics. Razaketh takes 8 mana to cast, which is a lot. Dark Ritual, Culling the Weak, and all the cards like them are essential in this deck. Dropping Razaketh on turn 4 or 5 instead of turn 8 can make a massive difference in your ability to pull off any sort of game-winning combo. It all starts with our little buddies, the Shadowborn Apostles. We can put as many of them as we want in this deck. I'd recommend a minimum of 32. That seems like a lot, but trust me, we'll need every single one. For the low cost of 1 black mana and 6 Apostles, we can retrieve any demon from our deck and plop it straight into play. The only demon in this deck is Runescarred Demon. You'll find out why in a second. We want 2 Shadowborn Apostles in play the first time we cast Razaketh. Razaketh should then proceed to eat those apostles so we can tutor for some juicy new cards. Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, and Thrumming Stone. Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, and Thrumming Stone are essential to pulling off a game-winning combo. Nykthos allows us to generate a huge amount of mana based on our devotion to black. Thrumming Stone sets us up to cast every remaining Shadowborn Apostle in our deck all at once due to the Ripple 4 ability it gives to all our spells. Once Thrumming Stone's assembled you an Apostle army, use Nykthos to put a ridiculous amount of black mana in your pool. Then kill off 6 Apostles and put Runescarred Demon into play. With his ability, tutor for Torment of Hailfire or Exsanguinate. Dump your mana into either of those spells and devastate your enemies. Thank you guys so much for watching. You rock. Seriously, I appreciate each and every one of you. Come check out our Facebook page. I've posted links in the description. Let me know in the comments below, who are your top 5 mono black commanders? If you love the content and want more, hit that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe. It helps us out a lot. We'll see you next time.